People are really getting excited for the fall colors, especially Middle Tennessee, but people like to travel to East Tennessee to the Smokies and get the beautiful fall colors. So, like I said, I spoke to the expert at fall colors. His name is, it says it on his hat actually. I think people call him Leaf Daddy, and I
Okay.
interviewed him, and you can watch this right here. So when will our forests begin to look like this? Fall is almost here, and according to the foliagereport.com, parts of the northern U.S. are already seeing the leaves begin to change. The Northwest, Rockies, Northern Plains, Midwest, and parts of New England are already seeing low to medium color. And according to Kyle Kottner, the owner and founder of the Foliage Report, this is all happening a couple weeks ahead of schedule.
The upper Midwest, we are seeing early fall foliage starting, especially within like the Minnesota, Wisconsin, maybe the upper peninsula area of Michigan. Now, speaking of Tennessee and maybe the surrounding states such as Kentucky, it's going to be pretty, I think, on target from previous years. It's going to be a normal trend. And what that looks like, so if you go out to Eastern Tennessee towards the Smokies, that's normally about late October we're looking at right now for peak color. If you want to bring it into closer to Nashville, it's going to be early November into maybe the second week into November will be peak colors. And it's obviously a little later when you get to Western Tennessee towards the Delta.
So we still have to wait another month or so until we start seeing any real changes. But what about the worsening drought? Kottner says the drought hasn't been quite bad enough to cause any major impact to our fall colors.
The good thing is, because you mentioned you had a very wet spring and summer, those trees, they're holding on to a lot of moisture from the previous months of a lot of rainfall. Now, recently within this month of September and then August, there have been some drought conditions, not severe at all in the area. But the good thing about that is we won't see any huge impact. But if there is a large drought or an extreme drought, that will cause the leaves to change colors earlier than drop. Because what the tree's trying to do is grab whatever moisture, what kind of liquid it can. So it's going to pull that chlorophyll much sooner than it needs to. And then obviously you see the natural color of the leaf, and then they'll still look majestic and vibrant. It's just they'll turn quicker and then they'll fall off the tree quicker as well. Now, if you have too much rain, I actually think that's actually a worse thing when you have too much rain. When you have too much rain, uh, a lot of times you'll have like a fungus and such grow on the leaves, and you definitely don't want that because it'll be a much more muted color.
I asked Kyle what part of the country he thinks is the best for seeing bright and vibrant fall colors.
You can take me up to Rocky Top anytime. There's some fantastic, obviously, fall colors within Eastern Tennessee towards Knoxville, and then into your neighboring state of North Carolina and then into Virginia. I do love the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. Skyline Drive is one of my favorite places to go. You mentioned New England. They get a lot of praise, and so I won't talk about them too much. But if we actually just head out west towards Colorado, Utah, that's a sneaky, really great spot to see fall foliage. It's those aspen trees that turn a wonderful yellow, sometimes a little orangish as well. But yeah, I will say don't sleep on the west, but you're in a fantastic fall foliage area.
And you are probably wondering the same thing as me. What goes into making this foliage map?
A lot actually goes into making the map. So what I do is I aggregate every single source that I can find, and I put it all together, aggregate it together, and then I create these easy viewable maps. Now this includes information from spotters, I call them peepers, across the United States. I have field correspondents out there reporting back to me. I also have just regular everyday people emailing me constantly and saying, hey, Kyle, or here, Leaf Data, here's what's happening in my area. I also pull in state data. So a lot of Department of Natural Resources will put out some fantastic data. So I'll utilize that information. So whatever I can find, heck, I'll even use social media. If we can go into Instagram and make sure that someone posted something and tagged it to an area, but it's not filtered, and I can definitely tell if it's filtered or not. So I just put all that information together, and then I create all these maps, and I've been doing it now for, 18 years.
Yeah, so yeah, it was a really interesting conversation. It was so cool to see how much data he actually takes in to make those maps. And then obviously you heard at the beginning that we have quite a while to wait here. He said the late part of October for the Smoky Mountains out east, but more like early November for here in Middle Tennessee. I remember last year the colors were just not great.
They weren't that great.
We had the worst drought. We have a pretty bad drought now, but it was even worse last summer. And it started earlier too, which I think hurt. So hopefully you get some vibrant colors this year.
I was actually looking right now. You know, what do you call it? Spotter? You call them spotters?
Peepers.
Peepers. So the peepers, right? I'm peeping out at Columbia right now. I'm not seeing any. I'm seeing all green. It's the Columbia camera right now, guys.
We got a nice weather camera network. We can peep all around without even moving.
You guys, we're just gonna call each other peepers.
We're peepers now.
Now we're peepers.
I
Chief
love
Peeper.
Chief Peeper. Chief Leaf Peeper.
it.
I can't even with you both right now.